Good afternoon, folks. This is Lee Kersey, the Simple Georgian. Today I'm smoking my Cobbett Shire from Missouri Meerschaum. First pipe I ever got. And in it, I'm smoking some Hampton House. Hampton House Strong. It's from a friend of mine, Joe Hampton Jr., small artisan blender. And it's pretty good. It's smoky. I'm probably pushing it a little bit harder than I need to. Or either didn't let it dry out or something. But yeah, it's good. It's smoky. It's got good flavor. And I'll leave it at that. I told him that I would try to test some of them out, and I just have not got around to it. So I'm getting to a point where I can start getting around to some of these different tobaccos I got. And but anyway, wanted to make a quick video. Didn't make one this morning. Hadn't made one all week. I don't know. It's not that I didn't think I had something to talk about. I just didn't. I don't know. Just wasn't a big priority, I guess. So anyway, had a lot going on this week. Had the Columbus Pipe Show going on, which of course I did not make it due to my work schedule. Had a gun show this weekend here in the local area. Had a family reunion this weekend, which I was able to go to that yesterday, spent some time with family, and that was a lot of fun. And it only happens once a year, and it always is it was usually around my birthday week, but the way it fell this time, it wound up being the weekend before my birthday, which is fine, no biggie. But had fun time. Didn't have a whole bunch of people there, but had fun. And I'm gonna have to let that pipe sit, and I'll smoke it a little bit later. But anyway, just wanted to get on here and chat with y'all for a minute. And one thing that I've thought about this week is I often come across as like really serious, no nonsense type of guy, and it's sort of helped and sort of hurt. People think I don't have any give to me, they think I don't have any, I guess you can say fun or whatever, but I've had fun, but a lot of it's just been in a different way, I guess. I remember one time during my apprenticeship with the electrical union, I think I was like a third-year apprentice, and I was either second or third year, and we had a demo job that I worked. I worked that demo job, I guess, must have been 4 years, 3 or 4 years. And we had the job itself, the way it was lined out. You had corporate, and then you had the head engineer, and each one of us in the trades had an engineer. We had electrical engineer and mechanical engineer, and then we had a lady there for a company that tested for asbestos. Of course, we had to demo all the pipe work and electrical and stuff like that, so we had somebody there to test for asbestos, and then you had the actual demo crew. So all in all, total, there was 6 of us on the electrical side, 6 of us on the mechanical side. We had the head engineer, the electrical engineer, our general foreman, our foreman, and then a journeyman and apprentice, for each crew. and we had 6 people. So basically, we had 2 journeymen and 2 apprentices, and then the general foreman and foreman on our crew. Same thing on the mechanical side. That was our main core crew on the job site, and the mechanical side had the same setup. So we worked side by side every day with the same crews, the same people, um, whatever. And then on the demo side, you had all the demo crew. You had the actual people that was pulling down the insulation, the asbestos crew. I don't know what all they did. And then you had the actual demo crew that took down the steel and the pipe work and all the conduit, electrical and stuff like that. They was it was a huge project. We had like 150 people on average on this job site. And every day we'd have, our safety meeting first thing of the morning. We'd get there 7 o'clock, do our thing, and we might get started at 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. After we did all of our paperwork and did all of our other stuff. So yeah, it was a pretty big job site, and had to switch arms. My arm's getting tired. But anyway, one day our general foreman, uh, I don't know, they had changed his medicine or something. Anyway, he had a reaction to it and was feeling kind of icky. So he went over there and sat down, and next thing you know, we had to bring the ambulance in to take him to the hospital. And me and my foreman always picked on this guy. He was real easy to pick on, and he was one of them people that, how can I say it? I wouldn't trust him to put an electrical outlet in, but he was our general foreman, and the head engineer wouldn't let him go anywhere else because he wanted to keep him right there in the office, keep eyes on him. Just the way he was. It just, I don't know. Um, he was one of these people you could actually work with, but he was real easy to pick on. So anyway, me and my journeyman, we got along great. My journeyman was about a year older than me or whatever, and me and him, we had the same political stance for the most part. We grew up around cars, mechanics. We had so much in common. It was unfreaking real, me and my journeyman. And so we hit it off. We got along awesome. Anyway, the electrical engineer come down, and of course the general foreman was in the hospital for about a week or so, something like that, before he could, get to where he could come back to work. And for about 3 days there, it was like, yeah, we was curious at how he was doing, this and that and the other, So once we found out he was all right, and he was going to be able to come back to work and all, we come up with a bright idea, and the electrical engineer was involved in it too. We come up with a bright idea. He had a Mercedes E320, I think it was, or 350, that he was like, he was one of these kind of guys that was always bragging about how much money he had, how he could do this, how he could do that. And he was always bragging about that Mercedes, talking about how he had a Mercedes, it was non-stop with this guy. And he was always that type of person that bragged about everything. And we come up with a bright idea, and we got the electrical engineer involved. We made a for sale sign. While this guy's in the hospital, we made a for sale sign and put his number on there, on that Mercedes in the parking lot. And we left. We wasn't even out in the parking lot good. The foreman was calling all of us. And he's like, man, what are y'all doing? So the next day we come in, and he he'd gotten somebody to go get the car that afternoon or something, but he had set at the plant the whole time he was in the hospital, right? So nobody didn't know what was going on. They just seen the car there and seen the for sale sign on it. So they was calling this guy up, him in the hospital, asking him how much he wanted to sell his car, and he didn't even own the car. He he was leasing the car, and it was so funny. And he come back to work that following Monday. He's like, "I'm gonna get y'all." And we're like, "Yeah, yeah." He said, "Which one of us you gonna get?" And then he found out that everybody was involved, all the way up to the engineers. So we're like, "Which one of us you gonna get?" Everybody's involved. It's not just one of us. And I straight up told him, I'm like, "Look, I'm the mastermind behind this, and but everybody else was involved." And then my journeyman stepped up and told him that he was part of it too. So he was like, basically throwing it in his face, like, "What you gonna do?" Because he was wanting to, retaliate against us, and there was nothing to retaliate. And then later on, he come back to us laughing about it. But yeah, it was so funny. This guy's in the hospital, and we put a for sale sign on his car. So, but yeah, it was. I'm I'm typically a hard worker, straight up guy, and I won't do nothing that is not right or something. But it was just too easy to do that to the general foreman. So yeah, we had a good laugh about that for a long time afterwards, and we kept telling him every time he'd brag about it. We kept telling him, "Don't be messing with the cars, because we'll be sold that son gun for you." So he didn't brag about his Mercedes too much more after that. And we tried to tell him, we're like, "Look, dude, get rid of that lease payment. Just go get your regular work truck like everybody else has got." One of the journeymen that was on the job with us, he was still driving a '86 Ford F-150, just a basic inline six with a 3-speed on the column. Just a regular old work truck. And I mean, from the '80s, '86. And this was like um, 2015 or something. And we're like, "Dude, you don't have to have a Mercedes." It was all about bragging rights with him, is all it was. And he was talking about um, when he'd go on trips, he'd go rent a car to keep the mileage down off the lease car, because he didn't want to pay all the money out front to um, take care of the extra on the lease, for running too many miles over the car. And I mean, I can understand if you want to lease a car to go on a trip because you can get a newer model car or whatever, save on gas, this and that, the other. Like in my case, if I was to take a long trip, I would leave my pickup part and just go rent a car and be more comfortable. I can understand that, but it's, I don't know. But yeah, it was one of them funny things that we done to the general foreman, and there was stuff we did like that to prank on each other all the time. And we'd take and lock the tools up in a box that they couldn't get in, and they'd be running around trying to find the keys to get into the box to get their tools. We'd take and strap their tie wrap. Electricians, we carry tie wraps on us all the time. We'd get somebody's hard hat and tie wrap it up to where they couldn't get to it without having to get a ladder. Tie wrap stuff to the fence. We had a little fenced in area where we kept all our tools locked up. They'd come in the next morning, their stuff would, if they missed a day or whatever, their stuff would be tie wrapped to the fence. It was so funny. But the job that we had was such a serious job, we had to have two people walking through all the time. I mean, it was, in fact, that particular job was one of the jobs, that demo job was one that I was on, that we had a man get killed. That's how serious that job was. And that was part of my safety training, because I was, for the electrical side, I was the environmental health and safety specialist on that job. And like I said, we had that man get killed on that particular job. So Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty serious job, but yeah, we had some fun. And so, yeah, I'm a hard worker, and I seem like I come across like really serious, but I can have fun too. So, but anyway, wanted to share that. And the next show that I know of, I'd have to go back and double check, but there's oh, in fact, instead of me saying that, let me go back and double check before I tell y'all something wrong. Um, I know they have one coming up in Indiana, in Gas City, Indiana, the Missawana Cigar Lounge, sometime in September, if I'm not mistaken. So that it's going to be like a little 1 day show, from what I understand. And I do know a friend of mine from Southern Roots Pipes will be there with some pipes. He posted the pipes today on his Facebook page, and he'll probably also have a few blends of tobacco there. He's a small artisan blender, so he'll probably have a few blends of tobacco there as well. And then I, I don't know who all else will be at that little pipe show there in Indiana, but that's it. The Missawana Cigar Lounge there in Gas City, Indiana. Big old parking lot. They got a little antique store. I say a little. It was an actual grocery store back in the day, and they converted it to an antique store. They have a few things there. So anyway, I think I've posted it in my post, so you can probably look back into my post and get the exact dates. But that's in September. And thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hope y'all have a good week. And I'm gonna get back to my pipe. Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.